After really thinking things through and trying to understand my behavior and my expression, I've come to the realization that what we call gender or biological sex really is not as important as the essence of our spirit that encases these bodies that were created by a deity who really didn't put a lot of effort in creating us and really didn't care a whole heck of a lot when these bodies are so fragile, easily broken down, requires maintenance, and has some functions that are less than desirable, if you know what I mean. Um, Charmin paper roll is a clue for you. I mean, if I were a god, would I put upon my creation that kind of curse that when they eat, whatever they eat, or even if they have to eat, that it has to be resorted to a very disgusting, if you uh, could understand my my disdain on the matter. I wouldn't do that to my creation. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of a clue how loving this flesh creator is towards its species, which he much considers more of a slave than anything else. And we, the slaves, have made it or brought it upon ourselves to believe that this father of ours really loves us, that he cares for us. But yet, if you read a lot of the biblical accounts, there is a lot of animosity towards us, a lot of power tripping, and just not nice, you know. But our spirit, the creator of our spirit, which is a very different creator from the one that you've been worshiping and are used to dealing with. The spirit creator doesn't really care too much about being worshipped because we are part of it. It doesn't really um, have the same needs as the flesh creator, which is less than on all accounts. Um, when you start going deep into the rabbit hole, you start to understand this and start to really get a better notion of who you are and why you are here. We've been tricked into these bodies, our souls recycled time and time again for the pleasure of um, what they call themselves Elohims. It's a kind of like a fleet of commanders that kind of went rogue and decided to take it upon themselves to do what they're doing. I know that many of you won't want to believe this. You're too set in your ways, and hey, that's your prerogative. I'm only sharing the information that I know. Um, and as someone who has done lots of research and has been part of the cult for a little bit, I'm not going to say much, but I am married to someone who's been in the cult and for a very long time, and there she is, that beautiful, gorgeous woman of mine.
Hmm?
You.
Oh,
Yes. And she was raised, bred, and indoctrinated from a very young age. And,
that's the truth.
you know, we've done a lot of research as a couple because when she came to me, she was still very much, you know, as most people are.
I believe, because there's a scripture that says, train up a child in the ways they should go, and when they're older, they won't depart from it. And I'm wondering if that's like a promise or it's actually a curse.
A curse.
Because the indoctrination is just so pervasive, and you're psychologically so caught in this belief system that you feel like there is no way out, and that the only way out is going to send you to a very terrible demise at the end of your life.
It's bullying. It is fear tactic. There's absolutely nothing wonderful about it. They make you believe that there's something wonderful about it.
Yeah, no.
But there's absolutely nothing that is wonderful about it. It's all fear tactic. It's all getting a person to have PTSD, to self-hate, hate others.
It's traumatizing, actually, because, you're told lots about this unconditional loving deity, and those that serve him are also supposed to be filled with all this unconditional, what they call in term agape love. Yet when push comes to shove and it's time to, bear up and show up and give what you say you have, nobody shows up.
No.
And
the sad thing is that we have such abilities as creator gods. We really do. I mean, I look at transgender individuals, for instance, the ones that are true transgender and the ones that really have the ability to change themselves in a matter of,
sorry, I'm just
stretching.
so tired from all the
we
craziness.
We decided to take a day off today because we're exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of work that we do takes a lot. There's a lot of lifting involved. A lot of organization skills involved. A lot of driving involved. A lot of dealing with traffic and people and avoiding accidents and
lots of crazy
drivers out there.
I mean, just the other day, this woman's like just like irate at you about being in the left lane, making a left turn. And then she's like, the reason it's like, what?
Yeah, because I went.
We're
next
going
to her
too slow for you.
Yeah, it's
well, first of all, we're in a Prius.
It doesn't.
Prius doesn't have a power mode. This one doesn't.
Yeah.
It's super sluggish.
Yeah.
So, people should know that if you're going to be driving behind a Prius, don't expect to be darting around, right? So, yeah.
And I stuck to the left side of the road because I had to make a turn coming up. So one of the biggest pet peeves that I have is that people that do last minute getting across from the right lane all the way to the left turning lane, and those are the people that cause accidents. I don't do that. If I'm going to make a right turn soon, I'm not going to go all the way from the left lane to the right because that causes accident because you don't always have the access. And then you force yourself into there, and that's how people get hurt. So I'm a very careful driver, extremely careful. And I'm not going to change because of some people who are in a hurry. It's like, leave on time. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and go the speed limit.
Yeah.
That's
what the speed limit's
for. Speed limit's 45, it's not 65.
Exactly.
The funny thing is, I've seen people get tickets on that bridge for going 60.
I'm sure.
Because it's easy.
It's easy
to do that.
Of course. But
I'm
not going to do it. I'm not going to deal with that.
So, yeah, but I noticed that there's a lot less patience in the world these days with regards to,
driving or anything.
Everything.
And the quality of service has gone down the chute. It's horrible. You don't get things when you want. If you order something that normally would have taken 2 or 3 days, now it takes a week. If you go to the store to buy something, you usually don't get it because it's not there. They're out of stock or whatever. It's just, things aren't the same anymore. And it's not because the Lord is coming, as many Christians believe. I think we don't understand the concept of what we are as spirits and what is actually going to take place. And there's nothing that's going to take place, per se, on this realm. We're dealing with dimensions. We're dealing with growth spiritually wise, and like a video game, you go from level to level to level. And I believe that we're here to evolve and grow, to let our spirits expand so that we can get to the next level. And then when you get there, there's another level, call it dimensions. But the whole concept of recycling, the way that the God of the Bible has made it, is to recycle your soul, to trick you, to give your powers away. As I was mentioning earlier about most trans people that are really in tune with who they are and they're really trans, we are creator gods, and this is why we're able to change ourselves the way that we do. I mean, look at it. It hasn't been a month. I'm not on any testosterone. Nothing. I mean, even my face already is, getting, I believe. I mean, I don't know.
Your face is getting really manly.
And it's...
Yeah, it hasn't been that long at all.
No.
No tea either.
No tea.
There's a backdoor tea going on with you in your body somewhere. Because, I mean, like I said, and you would give me crap for it, but I said, you're intersex. You're like, I'm not intersex. So I'm like, yes, you are. I've been with a regular woman. Yeah, you're intersex. So, I just think that grace, having compassion, is something that's so lax in this world today. People always want to be right. No one's willing to say, you know what, maybe I can look at this from a different perspective. Maybe I can, try to see what you're dealing with and try to understand where you're coming from. Although I'm not faced with the same challenges, but honestly, if you look at the situation for what it is, you don't understand what it's like to be Mark. You don't. You don't understand what it's like to be me. You don't. And all we ask for is compassion. That's it.
And if you can't find compassion, then just don't. There's no need for the comments that some people make, and and it's like, live your life.
I mean, we're sharing from a time that we're experiencing right now that we've never been at in our relationship. Honestly, I have never been more in love with this individual more than I am now. And he knows it. He feels it. I feel it. I know it. I know that we broke through to another level. And we were laughing the other day. We're, talking about stuff and just kind of teasing each other in the car. And we're like, where has this been in the last 6 years? What happened?
What have we been doing?
What have we been doing? There's a term in Spanish, it's called comiendo mierda. It's like, and it's like, I don't think people quite understand. They call me a narcissist or whatever, or you a narcissist, or they make videos about narcissism. And, the fact is, Mark and I have never walked down these waters in our relationship together in the way that we're walking down them now. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. I can't get enough of this individual. I am enamored by them, just, smitten by him. And I just, I don't know. I don't know what was happening for 6 years, but all I know is that this is where we're at now. And if you want to comment and stuff, please be nice. I mean, you want to be rude about things. I mean, there's really no grounds for people to just be rude just for rude's sake. We're letting you guys in on our life experience, and it is truly a life experience that we're having here, and you guys are seeing it without any veneer, any covers, any shades of any kind of filters or anything. You're seeing us live life right now at this moment, and we're bearing with you everything about our relationship and what we're going through.
We were talking the other day regarding the little boy and the little girl inside, and a lot of people go, whatever you guys want to think, but spirit wise, I believe that as a spirit, we tend to come with a particularly energy source, and although spirits have both the yin and the yang, it's part of the balance, the dance. There's always one more dominating source than the other. And I've always felt like a little boy inside, like a little boy that has not been loved, tended to. Little boys have certain needs, that typically their mothers will provide them. And it's just the right amount. Too much is not good because then you get a spoiled, rotten child, and not enough is not good either because then you live life in this deprivation of deprivation of things that if not given will create an unbalanced human being, and that's where you see the PTSD, the hurt, the angst, the whole caboodle of things. But I have such necessity inside of me to be loved and given the, go ahead and explain it further. I think that you kind of...
I just feel that he soaks up that tenderness, that mothering, that loving, gentle femininity that I can offer him in my essence and everything. And I know people don't understand it. I get it. I get it. But you're not us.
Yeah.
You don't experience life the way we do. I have needs of being protected, of being cared for, of being loved, of being coddled and held and just told that I'm beautiful. All those things that I guess is not a common thing for a little boy to want, but it's more common for a little girl to want that, right? So you have the needs that you have, and they're more related to what the needs of a little boy would want, right? And we're just like, experiencing these things on our own at our age.
Yeah. Just pretty...
And we feel like little kids. Like I feel like I'm a little girl that just wants to be held by my daddy, and you're like a little boy wants to be held by his mommy, It's just like, and it's weird for so many people to understand, and they don't get it, but we get it, babe. We get it because I can give you what you want and what you need, and you can give me what I want and what I need.
And that's something that many of you might learn something from, because a lot of the unresolved issues that you have, from when you were younger, are things that you're having to deal with now as an adult. Things that could give you a lot of psychological uneasiness, and if you tap into these things and understand and reflect and probably try to solve some of these issues, you will be happier for it. I guarantee it. Instead of spending hundreds and thousands of dollars in a therapy office, I don't know.
Yeah, we have an essence, and that essence is best lived out by being able to be who we know ourselves to be. And anything that would hinder that essence from flourishing and existing and just, unfolding itself and allowing itself to demonstrate its trueness and beauty, and any religious system that is used in order to suppress that from being able to be a realization for so many, it's just wrong for people to suppress someone and their character and their nature. It's not about sex. It's not about what you were born with or without. It's not about your DNA. Although there's so many people that talk about DNA as if they know anything about it. But DNA is much more than a physical strand of whatever molecules. I don't know what all DNA is, right?
It's deeper than
but
that.
it's like it's like the curtain between our spirit and our physical being is that DNA. And it's
it's
so
been
much more.
tampered. It's been tampered by the biblical gods, and I say gods in plural because the Elohims is not just one. There's a array of creatures, interdimensional beings that have literally captured this planet.
And our DNA, the part of it that is eternal, the part of it that connects us between the envelope of the spirit world, the interdimensional world, and the physical world, that those strands where you talk about the junk DNA and things have been turned off. Things have been disconnected. We could go back to the Tower of Babel, where people communicated in a way that was not language. It was more like telepathic thought forms and things. People think, oh, those Egyptians, they must have been real backwards. All they did was write in hieroglyphics and word pictures and stuff. But the fact is that a picture says more than 1,000 words.
Exactly.
So we have so much to understand.
A lot of that, what people don't understand, they can't even understand it. They can't put it in their minds because it's not about mind. It's about spirit. It's about a thinking mechanism that's not coming from your brain. There's not even a human word to explain how the spirit evolves and how it operates. We're not taught how that takes place.
I remember that, like we were taught, and we would do these little quizzes and competitions among different Christian schools and things like that, or churches, that their youth groups and stuff, where they would do Bible quiz, and people would literally study and remember the book of Romans or the book of Leviticus or the book of Ezekiel, and they would have this memory of all the verses in their heads, and that was supposed to be a key to higher spiritual attainment. Is the more words you got in your head, and people would say, oh yeah, there's coming a day when if they take away your Bible, you'll have your Bible in your head. And it's you realize that the written word is so limiting.
It slows you down.
It is.
It's like
a typewriter. Those old hand things where you click and you do it too fast, and the keys would get all cluttered up against each other.
Exactly. What happens? It's like the word, and in the beginning was the word, and the word was God. It's like the word will slow you down. We're meant to telepathically communicate with symbols and images and just thought process that is not word. And the Elohims did that on purpose.
Yeah, they want you to read 66 books. They want you to memorize.
Notice 66. Did people not get that? The mark of the beast, or what? The devil.
666. Yeah.
It's there's something really bizarre about all
the
of
beast
that.
Isn't who you think he is, right?
Exactly. And we've been duped.
Yep.
We've been duped. But the matter is that we are creator gods in the making, and the Elohims don't want us
to realize that. They don't want us to know who we are.
Yeah.
It's like, if they know who they are, they will pose a danger to us, right? Because in them knowing that they are part of that spark of eternity, of the source of all things, that they themselves are a piece of that source that's been splintered.
Man now knows, like the gods, when we were introduced by people believe is the bad guy is actually the good guy that tried to free us, from eating the fruit. Now they know, like we know.
Yeah. Or let us go down and confuse their language, because if they were to know and to get together and work together, there's no limit to what they can do. So
exactly.
What does that tell you right there? That tells you that this quote-unquote benevolent God that you want to think is good came down to confuse your language and my language and your language, and all the abilities that we had as spiritual beings and disable us.
And I think it's more than language per se of speaking. Let us
Right.
confuse their abilities so that we're not able to
They can't communicate, right?
And can't control things the way that God's control it.
Or they can't communicate with the universal community. Like we've been kicked out of the club of being able to communicate with
the
others,
interdimensional
interdimensional beings that weren't born on this planet, right?
And I think that's the main key, that we've got that detached, and that's part of the junk DNA.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much that.
And let's just make it about everything's about this little blue-green planet.
Yeah, and about
little savior that comes to save people from this little tiny blue-green planet when there's billions of planets like this one all around,
and interdimensional beings all throughout. I mean that our minds can't even fathom. That's the sad thing. So
that's why Christians, your Christianity is so limiting.
So little.
Just knowing information like that, having that play out, and doing research and finding out the truth about what the Bible really says and who the enemy really is, well, that makes us think a lot differently.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I couldn't continue. I just couldn't. It wasn't making any sense to me. It wasn't, the puzzle pieces weren't coming together. It just I felt so helpless and hopeless, and never heard the sound or voice of Jesus or God, or even the so-called feelings that many of you claim to hear.
The whole thing about you talking about self-actualization with this Christian community that you were a part of, I was thinking when I was listening to you say it, I was like, they're not going to understand that. They don't want to be self-actualized. They want to be they want to be dependent on this other being, right? They must decrease and he must increase. It's not I that live, but Christ that lives within me. That I'm dead to myself, and all those things that are being said. And you're talking about self-actualization.
Because I'm very much into the psychological, true spiritual.
I knew they would never understand that, and they would reject that because that goes against their belief system.
It does.
Because they have to, it's like put away the old man, bury the old person, and, let the new one rise. And, so... Yeah.
So we're going to be making a lot more videos in that nature, but a lot of it's going to go in our Patreon account. So if you guys want to watch some of those videos, please become a Patreon for as little as $5 a month. I have other stuff in there that you guys can look at, whether it be one-on-one communication with us, all sorts of different things. Just going to the Patreon account, and that's in the area of when you go to the YouTube channel, it gives you all the links. I haven't been keeping up with putting the information. I have to go and do that, but been busy working. But yeah, become a Patreon if our information is helping you in any which way or form, or you like to learn more and do more of a one-on-one consult with us. We do take donations through our PayPal, so you can do that as well. So just, don't let yourself be placed in a box. There's so much more. Way more. That's all.
Mucho más.
And as far as this wonderful relationship that Lynn and I have finally, it took us 6 years, took us long, broke through. And for those of you that are trying to curse it and say,
the honeymoon will be over and they'll pay back to...
Honeymoon. We've never, as many times have we broken up and gone back together again, we have never, ever reached this level.
No.
Ever. It's never been this way.
And I know people are going to say, okay, well, time will tell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time will tell.
All I know is that I love you, and I've never been as in love with you as I am now.
I've always been.
And I know that you...
But I've, because you're more receptive towards me now. Like before, I would always be kind of reserved and didn't want to get hurt, you know, because of all the different things that, you know, was involved in your life, and I kind of always felt like second fiddle. But now,
you're it, babe. You're it. You're everything. You're
I
it.
need that. Like I said, the little boy in me needs that, and I know what the little girl in you needs. So we're feeding each other, you know, and that's how couples should be. You know, that's how couples evolve and grow and finally reach the level that they need to reach. Highly recommend it. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
And you're gorgeous. So you make a beautiful couple. I still can't believe. Look at this. No tea. And the benko
It's gone.
is gone. We've been working on this is week 2. Week 3. I don't remember if it's week 2. I think it's week 2, 3. Time kind of. But no testosterone. Eating pretty much plant-based. We've eaten fish and eggs every, but it's mostly plant-based.
And we're clearing out.
We're clearing out the. Like, she didn't even know what she had in there. I mean, it's like, I think she goes shopping in a zombie state. Like,
I was discovering.
Just put stuff
I was like,
in.
I didn't know I had pasta jar in there.
And I've always been like, hey, this is what we need. I've always known calculatively what I'm, you know, what's going to be cooked for the week. I don't like to purchase stuff that's going to sit there and then gets bad, you know.
I was terrible when I first got here.
I can imagine.
I got vegetables. They went bad.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, for the longest time, I had garlic and other vegetables on the table over there and stuff. Out.
Yeah.
I
It's
was
like, you gotta
planning on
know.
cooking. And
Yeah. I kind of know, you know, one thing you learned about means I'm very, was it methodical? It's a word.
Methodical. Yeah.
Methodical. And, you know, anal in a good way, you know, that it's functional and helps. Even like now with our work, I found a technique, because I do that. I find techniques that work, and then it's like, you know, and it makes things smoother. And
yeah, so we like put things in the cold bags, and then one by one we open each cold bag out,
and then
we scan it, and then we put a bag in it, and then we put the bag back into the cold bag. Yeah,
and stuff like that. And it's just finding ways that makes things functional. I'm all about function and how things work and how things don't work, and then you don't do the things that don't work, and you follow the path of things that work to become efficient, you know. And that's how, with shopping, with everything that I've done in my life, and not that I've always been that way. I used to be, oh my God, a chicken with their head cut off, and I learned the hard way, and then I developed an inner voice that's my drill sergeant, and I followed through with that. Or else I'd be all over the place. I'd be like one big cluster F. I wouldn't be able to function. So I taught myself this way. And it works. You know? And like with you, what you thought was controlling was, I knew that I had to be that way with you. Because I saw right away. I think you know that now.
Yeah, I don't know what. I can't live without you, babe. That's all. You know. I mean, it's like we're two lovebirds, and you leave two lovebirds in the cage. It could be in the worst situation, but as long as they're together, they're happy, you know. But once one goes away, the other one can't last without the other one. So, but
yeah, but it's not control, it's efficiency, you know, and it works. Keeps us alive and healthy and functional.
Well, I mean, if anyone had a doubt, you know, and I had my own doubts. I mean, I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be responsible, and but I just don't feel like I have the tools to do so. I don't know if it's because of, I don't know. I can't. I mean, I don't know. It's just, some things are just not possible to do by yourself. Some people, it just becomes very difficult.
And it's a certain strength. I mean, I have certain strength. You have certain strength. You know, I have weaknesses. you have weaknesses, and there's no shame in admitting those, weaknesses. Like I find myself that if I don't have someone to take care of, to feel the protector of, to, and not just someone, because I've never really fell in love with anybody else, but when you and I split up,
You lost purpose.
I lost purpose, and I tried finding that purpose within the Christian belief system, but it was just,
too dead and dry.
it didn't have the meaning for me whatsoever. I didn't find it to be at all what most people say it is.
And those of you sending videos of older videos of Mark, saying what you want him to say. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish, but we know those videos exist. We haven't taken them down.
And I won't take them down. That's part of the history. And people ask me, are you taking your old videos down? I mean, I've had a channel since 2006. Go back. Do you see me taking down any videos? I don't take videos down. That's part of... And that's why I have people sign release forms. Because, if things change, I don't want them to go, I don't want to be on there. It's like, it belongs to Transition Radio, and you signed over a release. And it's history. It's history. You don't wipe away history. I mean, that's just wrong. Whether it was bad history or good history, it's history.
And it's that's what people have done. Oh.
That's
what the victors have done.
That's what they try to do, and they've done, but it's wrong, because it's like taking away history. Yeah. It happened. So why erase it? You learn from it, but you don't erase it. Anyway, we've been going on now for 36 minutes.
Yeah.
Quite a while. But since we don't do shows anymore, these are usually it.
That's alright.
And I'm going to start doing stuff for Patreon. So sign up for Patreon or donate if it's $5. Supports the channel. Although there are other tiers there that you get, other membership perks that you can choose from. But yeah, it's all good in the comments there. So, all right, guys. Hope you guys have a fabulous Friday. We're taking it off today because we are pooped. I am sore.
Tired.
I've been lifting the weights, and you can tell. My body takes on very easily when I start lifting, and deadlifts and squats.
I did. You know that exercise where you put your legs in the machine and you do that?
Yeah. The one for the butt? Yeah.
The one where you stretch your leg out.
Yeah.
And it goes like that.
Yeah. And
then you close it.
Yeah,
like
the adductors and adductor machines. Oh boy, yeah. Glutes are sore. Very sore. But so is everything else.
So I can wait to crank back. And I remember when I was in Arizona, I could get it pretty good.
Yeah.
And then it was like, the other day it was like, can't really get it very far before it starts hurting.
Yeah.
It's so tight, dude.
Yes, I know. We haven't been stretching too because of time, because we try to go in there and out so that we get back to work.
And then I see this image in a commercial of this woman that just does this flexible bending over behind her back, arms on the ground, feet. Oh my God, it's like some massive yoga pose.
We either have to get up earlier and maybe go to the gym first thing,
We'll
figure it out. We gotta figure out a schedule, because yesterday was like, it was tiring.
Oh, I wanted to tell you, I just saw this article in our local paper, and it says, Wenatchee mechanics swamped due to heat pandemic consequences. So the fact that we were able to get our car fixed.
We didn't tell them about that.
Oh.
But we could, I guess.
We had a problem with our car, and look at what it says. It says people thought that they could tow the car to a shop, and the worst case scenario would be that they would be without a car until, like a couple days later. Instead, they were told they couldn't take a look at their car for another 18 days.
So talk about, I know that we get curses and people wishing a lot of bad things upon us, but we have peeps in higher places. I believe that we have higher selves, guardian angels, guardians, whatever you want to call it, that will always be there to protect us. I mean, it's very evident in our lives that that's been the case. So the car, and I think it had to do with the heat. Remember, I said the heat probably is what got the filter so overheated that it created a leak around the seals.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, we're driving and we're getting ready to do an order, and we get a light, a beeping light, on a car that we just bought. We shouldn't be having this kind of issue. That the oil pressure in the engine was off, or something or another. So, I kept driving thinking, okay, we looked at the thing and we find out, what the light meant. But it kept doing it more persistently. So we go, I don't think we can drive this car. I think we have to stop it and get it to a place. Well, we have bumper to bumper coverage, right? And there was nowhere in the area that would take our coverage. So we took it upon ourselves to find a local. I mean, because it had to be real local, because I knew the car couldn't drive much more. Lucky enough, it was like literally right next door, almost, from where we were.
It was almost 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we pull in there, and the guy takes a look under the hood, asks you about oil changes and stuff, and then he says, well, I need to put the car up on the...
He said, do you know how to put oil? Do you know how to check your oil and put oil? I was like, yeah, sort of. But he just, all of a sudden, because he was like, we're packed and we're getting ready to go home. All of a sudden, it's like the guy's got into his head, and he decides to do it himself. He looks, had no oil. All the oil had leaked out of the thing. He puts it up on the thingy to lift, and they just took over. And they just did everything, even though they were supposedly getting ready to close.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it was like, I listened to a conversation that the woman at the front desk was talking to a customer and said, we could get you in around July 26th, if that's okay. And it's like, what?
What? No. And just the day before, your phone, had gone.
My phone went dark.
Dark.
Right.
And it's like,
back.
Yeah, it's like people try to throw curses at us. What is this?
I don't know. My hair.
No, that's not your hair.
Oh.
It looks like cotton or something. And it doesn't matter what curses you all try to throw at us, which I think is pretty mean,
It is. And when people say, oh, I'm just praying God's will for you, it's like, yeah, but you're not asking my will.
Well, exactly. You keep your God's will to yourself. But we do have protectors that will always protect us. Because, what are the chances? This is like, after the fact that the car got fixed and we were driving home, like, you realize that was a miracle. That was, like, we do have protection.
Yeah. So if you're looking to get auto work done soon, best of luck. Local audio shops are inundated with many booked days and weeks out.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, for those that want to seek to, like, say, and this is how you curse, Christians, this is how you curse. Lord, do whatever it takes for this couple to come to an understanding that they are wrong. That's how you curse.
Yeah.
That's not a prayer.
Or I'm going to pray.
I'm going to pray for you.
It's like, what are you praying for me for? Am I asking you to pray for me?
I will always pray for the restoration of such and such relationship. It's like, you don't even understand the situation. You don't have the right to throw yourself into the conversation. What you do have the right to do is to pray or ask that the peace would be there between the situation and the persons involved. No one's asking for you to change currents or to change directions of anyone's life. That's not your responsibility.
Exactly. Anyway, we've gone on 44 minutes now. It's like time flies when you're talking.
But my phone all of a sudden came back to life. I took it to Verizon, and they put another phone on order and stuff, and it was like
We're still waiting.
dark
That's probably
screen.
what's going on, because there's probably a lot of backup stuff going on. People broke their phones during the holiday, and there's just like a bunch of, like I said, the world that we're living now is not the same world anymore. You don't get stuff delivered in days like you normally used to. Things take a long time. I don't know. Stuff is not the same.
But it's nice to know that someone out there is looking over and out for us.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, guys. Take care. Be well. Empower yourselves. Realize that love is all that really matters. Love yourselves. And, yeah. We love you. But some of you is so hard to love, but, those of you that have been with us and have supported us, we love you. Those of you that are try to love you, but you make it so difficult at times. But learn how to love yourselves so that you learn how to deal with things and people and all that good stuff. Alright. And that's no tea, folks. That's what it is.
It's like that.
That's the way it is. Take care. Hasta la vista, baby.